I hate it.
All right. Are we live, boys?
I don't know. You tell me. Are we live on YouTube yet?
We're live.
A lot of pre-cooling. That's what somebody we know does.
Maybe Tommy can tune in for the weather updates.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right. Are we live on the Vectorverse or the Sandbox Gamers?
On Sandbox Gamers.
Ooh, all 44 of our subscribers are going to get this content. Maybe we'll double over. All right. So you boys ready to start this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's get these show notes up. Time to get back in business. We've been on vacation. It's time to get back into the podcasting game. Welcome, everybody, to level 66 of the Sandbox Gamers podcast. We're a podcast where three vidgets meet weekly to talk about life, love, and the pursuit of vidya. Thank you so much for joining us. I am your co-host with the most, Wonder Rob, coming at you live. Well, semi-live. No, wait, we're on YouTube. YouTube Live. We're live right now. Unless you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm coming to you from Southern California, and on the line with me are two of my best Arizona friends in the Mojo Dojo Casa House. The guy who set fire to the atmosphere, Vectorheimer.
Now I'm become death, the destroyer of worlds.
And I didn't see the movie, so I don't get the quote. And the Robert Downey Jr. in old white guy makeup, JeffW the second.
He's an old white guy, is what how he. Okay. All right.
Remember, you used to have that Twitter account of all the things he said?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm a Barbie guy in a Barbie. Thanks for joining us. I just read what's on the script, boys.
And
Thanks
you wrote
for joining us. I didn't write the Barbie A.
Yeah, you did.
You did
wrote
that. I wrote Mojo Doja Casa House because that's dope as hell.
No.
But I did not write Barbie A. But
No, that's I. Look, I-E-Y-E. I.
I'm a Barbie guy in a Barbie. I still don't get it.
I don't know what the hell is happening.
Yeah, I don't understand the reference, but you know what? We're here to have fun, everybody. So thanks, everybody, for joining. If you're watching us on YouTube with our 44 subscribers, or if you're listening to us after the fact on your favorite podcatcher of choice, we appreciate you, especially if your name is Tommy, not if your name is Schaff. Did I just have a meltdown like a Mitch McConnell did? Topical. Aliens are real. All right, everybody. Wow. So we've got a big episode for you today. We're catching up on the video game news that we missed. We were gone last week because I was on vacation. So we're going to catch up on video game news. We've got an interesting question from our most loyal of listeners, Tommy. So we'll get to that in a second. We're going to talk about the game I've been playing this week, Viewfinder, and then we're going to go into a little after dark conversation at the end of the podcast and talk about Oppenheimers and Barbies. So stick around if you want to be spoiled for that stuff. Now, one thing I have to tell you is JeffW is always DTF. That stands for Down to Talk Fun. And I have a note in my my Google Drive here from somebody named Kmundo. When you guys go to the movies, do you guys get popcorn or nachos? And then followed up by, again, our most loyal of listeners, Tommy Gunn, 311. Popcorn, who gets nachos? Excellent question. I get nachos, Tommy.
Ooh.
Always with the extra jalapenos. What about you boys? Actually, what is your movie treat of choice?
It's funny. I think 99% of the time I don't get anything unless we go to what's that? What's the theater of actor where you can order and they bring it to you that we go to?
Look,
Uh,
cinemas.
Yeah, looks and they usually have like a special. And I think all the movie theaters that are serving alcohol do that now, but they'll have like movie special things. I'd say those are my go-to, whatever's on that menu. But most of the time, I'm trying not to pee, like Christopher Nolan and his bullshit ass movies, and then being 3 hours long. I don't want to get up to pee. I just want to watch the movie. So
You got a pee
uh,
problem, Jeff?
no,
A bladder issue?
I just don't want to get up and then do the awkward shuffle, and then I try to avoid it when at all possible.
Okay, that's fair. What about you, Vactor?
But
What do you get?
nobody's getting fucking nachos, Rob. Even
I get nachos
There's no
all the
way.
time.
There's
I go in there
no
and I
way.
say, 1 order of nachos, please. Extra cheese, extra jalapenos, because I likes to do the dipping. One thing, listen, I'm going to tell you guys right now, sorry about the sidetrack. If you're going to the movies and not getting diarrhea the next day, you're doing it wrong. Get the nachos.
Well, I just feel like there's nowhere to put them. Like
On
you're
your
gonna hold it
lap.
on your lap.
Wait, are you guys, your theaters don't have a little table that you can just swivel over your lap?
Yeah.
The one I get food at does.
Yeah.
AMC doesn't. The IMAX, the Mills, whatever theater doesn't have that.
Don't go to those theaters. Come on, Jeff. Are you
Those are my
new? What are you
favorites.
new?
Those are my
Jeff?
favorites.
All right, Factor. What about you? I thought you were drinking beer for a second, Jeff, and I was about to high five you.
I went to the
through the
dentist
internet.
today, so I'm drinking with a straw.
Are you drinking? Hold on, everybody. He's drinking a Dr. Pepper with a straw, but it's a plastic bottle. Is that a? Hold on. Is that a Twizzler you're drinking it through?
It's to preserve these teeth.
That's fair. We are live, so everybody can see this. Okay, Vactor. Jeff keeps distracting me because he doesn't want you to say your favorite snack. What's your favorite snack?
My favorite is popcorn, but I've had nachos many times. As a matter of fact, I just had nachos the other day, and the best is when you can get the little sliced up jalapenos, and if it has the jalapeno juice, and you can pour it on top of the nachos and then pour it on top of your popcorn.
He's so full of shit.
That is the best.
He's just
I love
repeating
it.
your answer.
No.
It's called being a supportive friend, Jeff.
Yeah,
I've never
Jeff.
seen him ever get nachos, and I've never seen him talk about getting nachos.
Love nachos. Always get them. I got the pizza the other day. It was great. And they got the big old pickles, and those are good too. Everything is good at the movies.
Would you
All
ever
right,
sneak
so
anything in? You know what I mean? That's the move, is to get your own shit and bring that in. Nobody wants
fantastic.
Twizzlers.
Okay, so K Mundo, I hope that answers your question. And Tommy, what do you like to eat?
I think Tommy shit all over both of you.
Well,
said,
he's
"Who
in
gets
the chat
nachos?"
right now in the YouTube. He
Keep it-
says popcorn and peanut M&Ms.
Come on, Tommy.
All right,
that's
fair.
Bush League. That's Bush League snacks, Tommy.
Those are legit.
Tommy brings a whole stack of salami from his kitchen and pulls it out of his shirt.
Tommy Salami, his new name.
Okay, moving on. It's time to talk the strategy guide section where we're going to catch up on some video game news. And I can see that this news has a close place in Vactor's heart. So I'm going to let Vactor take it away.
Oh, yeah. This week, or this past week, it was San Diego Comic-Con, boys. I'm sure both of you are very excited about all the Comic-Con news that was announced. But I saw some great stuff, including the Adam Eve game that was just announced. Invincible presents Adam Eve, where you can become Adam Eve and take control of your own path as one of the most powerful superheroes in the Invincible universe, boys. I added it to my wish list. I'm not signed in here, so you can't see that.
I'm looking at it right now. This is some visual novel. This isn't even a real video game.
That's what I'm talking about.
Turn-based strategy game.
Adam Eve.
Oh yeah, you guys aren't even gonna play this thing. You guys don't even like these kind of games.
Skybound games. Something Jeff will never understand, but I'm gonna be playing it.
Let me see what Skybound has
Uh-huh.
made. Hold on.
What?
Skybound is what's his face's company,
That's Robert Kirkman. That's
Yeah.
Image Comics.
Is he still
Okay,
alive?
so The
Does he do
Walking Dead.
things?
No, he didn't make that. Let's see here. I don't see what else. What other games have they made? Skybound
They
games
made a ton of games.
about browse. Let's go browse. I'm gonna go through their browse. Okay, Glitch Busters, Escape
Yeah.
Academy, Rainbow
Yeah.
Billy, The Big Con. Hey, they made Before Your Eyes. Is that right?
Yes.
Didn't they buy?
That's not right, is it?
Didn't they buy Telltale?
No. Oh, they did make it, or they published it.
Now,
They
how do
didn't
you
make it.
feel, Rob? How do you feel?
Well, they just published it. It's
take
different.
that egg off your head, Rob. Take it
No.
off your face.
I'll keep it. Thank you very
Also,
much.
Oh,
The
man.
Invincible comic series is getting its first ever video game, but it's not for PC or console. It's coming to iOS and Android, boys. Invincible Guarding the Globe is a free-to-play idle squad-based RPG from Ubisoft's Barcelona mobile studio. You can pre-register right now for Invincible Guarding the Globe.
I will not.
What do
I
you
will
think,
not.
Rob?
I don't. I'm not that interested in
What?
this at all. I might wait for the Vector review on
I
the
thought you were a
Sandbox gamers.
fan.
I'm a
You know-
fan. I've got that omnibus, that first part that I'm reading
Oh,
through
yeah.
right now. It's a thickie. It's a real thickie.
Yeah,
What?
turn
what
that
do you-
audio down. So I'm actually surprised. It's kind of funny that this like Invincible feels old to me. You know,
What?
meaning like it's just interesting that they're getting. I know they got the show and everything now, but it's just surprising to me that it took that long, right?
Season 2 is coming out later this year,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't wait. Anything Invincible, I'm all in, boys.
Do you think they're gonna have? Let's talk comics for just a second. Let's talk Invincible for just a sec. Do you think that they're going to put Spider-Man in season 2 of Invincible?
No,
No,
ain't
won't do
no
it.
way.
they ain't no way.
How would they do that anyway?
Well, there's my understanding, and Vector will have to correct me on this, that there's some crossover comics with Spider-Man in the main line of
Is there?
Invincible.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And so a big question is, are they going to do a crossover episode with Spider-Man? And so I was asking the source of all knowledge when it comes to Invincible. That's Vector, since
Right.
Kirkman isn't here.
There ain't no way that they're doing it. But there are rumors.
All right. There you go.
All right.
I thought there was more to that sentence, but there wasn't. All right. See, look, he's pulling it up right now. It says Spider-Man reference spotted.
So this was in that tease that they had in the diner.
Mm-hmm.
It has the cover of the Marvel team up, which had Invincible and Spider-Man teaming up in the actual like little trailer thing that they had.
Is that
So-
issue in the omnibus? Am I going to run into that?
No, that one is that's a Marvel issue, so you're not going to see that in the Image Comics.
Boo! I'm going to throw this book away. That's disappointing. All right. So, believe it or not, that's all the video game news that happened in the last 2 weeks. Nothing new with Activision Blizzard King. Nothing new with that. The Immortals Phoenix Rising sequel. No news about that.
No Mortal Kombat news.
No Mortal Kombat news with John
Oh.
Cena and Homelander and all that good
Omni
stuff.
Man from Invincible. He's going to be in Mortal Kombat, voiced by
Is it-
J.K. Simmons.
This is an Invincible show now. Yes.
But are they gonna have the guy from The Boys do Homelander? Is his
Now
voice
that-
coming in?
That I don't know. I haven't
And
heard
he's in
anything
Call
about
of Duty also right now, I think.
Oh yeah.
Jeff, is he in Call of Duty right now? We know you play every day.
Is he? I don't
Come
know.
on, Jeff. Come on. I thought,
I've
Jeff, you're
played older
embarrassing
Call of
me.
Duties than I more recently than I have a newer Call of Duty.
All right.
That should have been in the video game news. Is Xbox on the low bringing back all these old game servers? If you haven't heard,
Well, I didn't really fill the news section this week because I had a feeling the Oppenheimer Barbie talk is going to take quite some time.
that's true. That's true.
And I wanted to take a minute to talk about the game I've been playing this week, a little game called Viewfinder. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this, boys?
You know, I
By
was
Sad
looking at
Owl
the
Studios.
trailer. This looks interesting. I've never even seen this game.
So this game was not on my radar. This was something that I received an email about it from PlayStation. I don't know how they got my email, but they got me. They found me. I don't know how, but they found me. That was for Vector. That's from Hook, Jeff. I don't know if you've seen that movie. Anyway,
Sounds like it. Yes.
so it's by Sad Owl Studios, Thunderful Publishing. It is a first-person puzzle game. The best I could describe it is if Superliminal and Portal made sweet, tender love and gave birth to a beautiful baby. It would be Viewfinder.
Ooh.
The premise here, Jeff, is that you are in these science experiments where you have to get from point A to point B. Essentially, these little teleporters at the end of each little map. But there'll be a gap that you can't cover. Maybe there's a wall in your way or some sort of obstacle preventing you from getting to point A to point B. Well, the gameplay mechanic, the hook here, Jeff, is that you'll find a picture or several pictures in the map, and you'll hold it up directly in front of your face through your viewfinder, and you'll hit click, and what's on that image will immediately be transferred to the 3D world around you and create a bridge. So, for example, an early puzzle in the game is you need to get to the second floor of this building, but there's no way for you to get there. But you have a viewfinder and you can take a picture of some stairs that are way in the distance. And you take the picture of the stairs and you place it where stairs should be in the map. And all of a sudden, stairs are there, Jeff. And you can go up the stairs and get your way. And then the puzzles, they'll get a little more complicated as they go. You'll have to flip your pictures and turn them around to get the orientation right. Maybe there's something in the far background of the picture that you want, or there are certain puzzles where you need batteries to activate a teleporter, but there's only one battery in the map, but you need 2 batteries. So maybe you have to take the battery and go take a picture of it and then double it to get where you need to go. But it's very I don't want to say non-linear. Some maps seem to only have one way to get out, but I've managed to figure out in a couple of different areas, a couple of different combinations to get from point A to point B. But it's a very cute game, and it's running perfectly on the old Steam Deck, boys.
Oh yeah.
I've been playing it exclusive on the Steam Deck, even though I received an email about it on PlayStation.
Is it free on PlayStation or is it?
There's a demo. There's a demo that's free.
So I've been playing a lot of Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and I am really enjoying not being constrained to my desk to play that game. And that's what really pushed me from getting it on the PS5 to playing it on the Steam Deck. So I was like, I just want to lay on the couch and play it, or play it in bed or something like that. And it's working perfectly. It is the exact opposite of Jedi Survivor on the Steam Deck. It's at a silky smooth 60 FPS, boys.
Was that a shot at somebody in here?
It might be, but it might not be. I'm just stating the facts. You know me. I calls them like I sees them, boys.
Like that.
I calls them like I sees them. So this game, it's only let me look it up on Steam. $25. So it's not bad. So it's not going to be an 80-hour game or anything like that, but it's definitely it's worth the purchase in my opinion. If you're a fan of, Portal Superliminal, oh gosh, what was that other one? Oh man, of course now I can't remember what it was called. Um there was another game out recently. Stanley Parable? Is that what it was called?
Oh,
Oh,
what?
yeah.
That's an old one.
It's been
But
it's been out for a minute, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, just in general, speaking about that, it's a similar game to that. So I would definitely recommend it. And one thing that I think's interesting about it is I haven't done this yet, but if you can't solve a puzzle, it has an option to give you hints, but it forwards you to a community for answers.
Mm.
Some Now I don't know exactly where the community is. I was just reading about it. I don't know if it's going to like redirecting you to like a Reddit or a Steam thread or something like that, but
Right.
it encourages community helping each other if you
Huh.
can't solve a level. But
Th-
it's a real fun game.
Yeah, see, it does give me like just looking at previous. It reminds me kind of The Witness. I don't know if you ever played that, Rob.
Oh yeah.
But when that game turns into like you start to realize that there's like a lot of environmental puzzles around.
Mhm.
Seems like similar vibe there. But yeah, I mean, it looks cool.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot. I've been torn actually away from Tears of the Kingdom, which has been consuming my life lately. I've been feeling a little more, I don't want to say obligated, but pulled to playing Viewfinder lately. So I haven't beaten it yet. I think I'm roughly halfway through it if I just had to guess. So maybe by next week I'll have it beat, boys.
Nice.
And I'll give you my full report. All right. So I think that's about it for video games. I didn't see any notes for anything Vactor's been playing or Jeff's been playing. So we're going to get into the meat of our conversation. It was Barbenheimer week, everybody, or Oppenheimer, depending on which part of the country you're from. You got your people who love Barbie. You got your people who love Christopher Nolan, and the two great tastes that taste great together. So I'm told. I actually did not go see Oppenheimer because I'm not part of the Christopher Nolan butt kissing train. But
Ooh.
I know that two of my boys
Was that
are.
a shot at Jeff?
He just wants to be a feminist.
I'm just
That's all-
being a
that's all that is.
feminist. Yeah, Jeff's got it right. I'm just a feminist. I'm just an Allen.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's a Ken, all right.
Oh, I am Knuff. But we'll save Barbie talk for last. I'll let the boys talk about Oppenheimer. Now, I'm giving you full reign to spoil this movie, although I don't know how much there is to actually spoil because it's based on true events. But we will be discussing spoilers, everybody. So if you don't want to be spoiled for Oppenheimer, if you don't want to be spoiled for Barbie, just turn off the podcast now. Don't forget to subscribe, find our link tree in the show notes, etc., etc. Okay. Tell us about Oppenheimer, boys.
Yeah. What'd you think?
Well, Jeff and I have a tradition of going to Nolan movies. So this was in our tradition of seeing them. We saw Tenet together, and we've talked about Nolan movies going back, I don't know, a decade now. So we've always been big Nolan fans. Whenever there was a new movie, it was always an event. So when this one came out, we said, all right, we got to go to see this new op.
Mhm.
And this one, I think, is very similar to a lot of Christopher Nolan movies where once I left the theater, I was thinking about it a lot. And I was thinking, I need to watch it again to have that visceral experience. Um, I need to pick up on things I did not pick up on the first time. And I've been watching a ton of interviews with Nolan. I've been reading as much as I could. And this movie is very interesting. There's a lot behind the scenes. There's a lot of stuff that you would not get from a normal director. Like if this is just a normal biopic, I think it would not be the same movie as it is with Christopher Nolan. And he actually got inspired on the last movie, Tenet. There's a line about Oppenheimer. And I guess just from that line in the movie, it started him thinking about Oppenheimer. And he said, "All right, that's what I want my next project to be." So
Mhm.
I very much enjoyed Oppenheimer, but it wasn't the like formula, like the Nolan formula that he's had for making movies. And Jeff pointed that out as soon as we walked out of the theater. There was something about the pacing and the editing that
Mhm.
felt a little bit off. And Nolan has had this before in a little bit of his movies. I can specifically think of like The Dark Knight. There's a couple scenes where like the Joker's in the tower, the hotel, and Batman also is in the tower, but then Batman flies off the tower to save Rachel as she's falling off. And then it just cuts to, all right, here's the next day. So how did the Joker get out of there? Like the police had the building surrounded and the
Yeah.
Joker just got out? Like what happened?
Mhm.
That's what this movie feels like. There's a lot of scenes that it feels like you didn't get the beginning of the scene and you didn't get the end of the scene. You just got jumped like into the
It-
middle of the scene.
when
It's like
when me and Vector got out, I was in the car and we're talking about it. I'm like, it's a 3 hour movie basically, but it is like a shotgun blast of scenes, like just one after the other. Like there is no lead up. There is almost no, you know, there is nothing. There's no. I can't remember a single scene in this movie where you cut into whatever is happening on screen and people are having like a casual conversation and then it builds. It is just like boom, here's the dialogue you need for this part. Boom, next scene. Like there is no no lead up or like down, like it's just like I said, it's just like a shotgun blast like over and over again, like through the whole movie, I felt like.
Yeah. Mark Vibert in the chat points out that Lee Smith has not edited the past Nolan films, and that's also something to bring up because he used to have a team where he was doing the same cinematographer, same editor, same composer. He was working with Hans Zimmer on every
Mhm.
movie, and then with Tenet, he switched over to Ludwig Göransson, and then he worked again with him on this one. I noticed he's not working with the same cinematographer anymore, so it seems like he's got a new team, and this is going to be like the team as it goes forward. So that is something to note that Nolan has switched up his usual cast of characters on this one. But Jeff, overall, as a Nolan fan, did
Mhm.
this one when you left the theater, or you've had a couple days to think about it because when we left the theater, we were still mulling it over.
Right.
Does this movie fit in the Nolan lineup for you as like, all right, this is a step above normal directors' movies? Like, does it feel Nolan-ish to you?
Um, I mean, I think it feels right. Like if you go look at his filmography, I feel like it feels like it has its own place. I think my the biggest hang up for me was, I remember it's I can't remember how long it's been since they had like the reveal trailer and they revealed the countdown and everything. And I remember at that point leaning over to you and being like, all right, this is the guy that made the bomb. They're gonna do something with time, like he's gonna set this bomb off and there's gonna be a twist. They're gonna do something. And this is basically like Rob said, we're gonna talk spoilers, but I mean almost you almost can't really spoil this movie if you know the history like at all. Um you can spoil like some things that happen and lines that are said, but I mean it's like pretty much like a biopic. I mean, I don't it just feels
a
so
what?
a biopic.
Okay.
Biopic.
Okay.
Biopic. It's one word.
It
Anyway,
is one word. It is
it's
one
one
word.
word,
You're not
but
wrong.
so it just feels like out of place. I was telling Vector in the car, I'm like, it feels like I'm not like this isn't a bad movie. It just is not Inception to me. It's not, The Dark Knight, obviously. It's not Interstellar even to me. Like it's just not that tier of movie. And I think it's to me it was just because like I could have watched this on the History Channel, not up to this level. I've obviously the filmmaking is high level, but there's just nothing there to like, as somebody who knows a story, there's nothing there that ropes me in aside from like I know everything that's going to happen, right? I know all the characters, I know everything that's about to happen. Like there's nothing, there's no twist, there's no uh I don't know, hook for me really in terms of the story. And I think there's also like weird shit in here too, and I'm just, this will be a spoiler. um so Rob, the line that Vector read at the beginning, you know, what is it? He's like, I have become death. It's the infamous quote. Like there was a video of Oppenheimer way back in the day discussing the bomb like 20 years after it went off, and that's the quote he gives, you know, from some like Indian book, whatever it is. I don't want to butcher it, so I won't even say it. But anyway, he gives that quote, and that is like, you know, he's like, I have, you know, destroyer of worlds, whatever, I have become death's destroyer of worlds. Like it's a pretty, you know, poignant quote at the time, and it's, you know, it's kind of you know, a major, you know, part of that story is to like discuss how he feels about inventing it essentially, or bringing that to the forefront. And in the movie, they do it while he's having sex. They drop that line while this girl is riding him, and you're like, this is weird. Like, this is a weird place to like put this in there. I think they say it a couple times. Like, they might do it again. But the
They
first
knew you were
time,
paying attention in that
yeah,
scene, so they're like, let's just put the line right here.
they dropped it. It's like, I don't know how else to explain it. It'd be like doing something on like, I'm trying to think like another famous quote from like a historical character that, you know, I could give a good example. It'd be like JFK being like, you know, it's not what your country can do for your country, but, or not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And then he's like having sex. You'd be like, well, that's weird. That's not how that was
I
done.
have a
That's a little different.
dream
Yeah,
that we
like,
switch positions.
yeah.
That was a
And,
very strange
and it's,
placement of that.
if you don't, and that's the thing, it's like, it's almost like, in fact, and I guess Rob too, it's like when you hear like music being sampled, right? Like if I know the sample that like in a rap song where like I know what song that's originally from, sometimes I can't unhear it, you know, so it kind of ruins it for me. So in this case, I'm like, I know that history, so you doing the like artsy like spin on that, to me doesn't really, it doesn't hit as hard as maybe somebody that doesn't know that stuff, it was like interesting. To me it was just kind of like corny in that point. And there's a handful of moments like that in here, where, you know, I've just, it just kind of took me out, you know. And I think the editing was also a major factor in that. But overall, I mean, like, the movie looks great. I thought, you know, we saw it on 70 millimeter, like it looks really great. Obviously, you know, Nolan's going to give that to you. There's not like CGI. There's nothing in there that felt like weird to look at, you know. Like Robert Downey Jr. was great, I thought, in there. It has a bunch of like Nolan players are all around, and me and Vector were talking about that after we got out. We're like, oh, that guy's from here and here. You know, we recognize a ton of the characters in there. Um, so it had all the, you know, Nolan pieces, but like I don't know if I would put this like above Tenet, to be honest. I know people don't like Tenet, you know, like I think people would probably rank that as their least favorite Nolan movie, but I don't know. Like at least there was something there to like, it had that Nolan formula, like messing with time and space, and this just didn't. I wanted more out of it than just to literally be like the story, you know.
Yeah. This is like the first time he's trying to take on an actual event that happened and not just fiction. And I think for the most part, it was a success and I enjoyed it. There was just a few weird things with the pacing and the editing. And it also, I don't think it needed to be 3 hours long. That was not, I think once I got out, I was like, oh yeah, that was, I wasn't like, that was a good 3 hours. That was a good 3 hour sit.
Oh, yeah, no trailer. There's one trailer before our movie and no after credits bullshit. Don't keep me in the theater longer than I want to be. I can watch the trailers at home. I don't care how you feel about trailers. Fuck trailers. I want to see the movie that I came to see.
Wow. Do you remember what
That was
trailer it was?
enjoyable. That was enjoyable.
What trailer was it, Jeff?
Is
Ninja
it
Turtles?
what? It's Paul Giamatti, or isn't that his name, actor? I can't remember the actor's name. He played the old man. It's like an old man and a young boy adventure.
I don't even remember.
I think it's Paul Giamatti. I'm almost positive. It's whatever
All
whatever
right.
his next move is.
Yeah. But yeah,
Sideways too.
like Jeff said, great cast. And Tommy was pointing out in the chat, Cillian Murphy, I think most likely will get Best Actor nom. I don't know if he'll win. We got to wait till the rest of the year, but definitely one of the strongest performances. And it was interesting because he's been working with Nolan like for the last 20 years. And this is the first time he's had a starring role. He was the first time he was the main actor, but everybody did a fantastic job. Like the entire cast. I think that was my favorite part of this movie was the cast, the amount of people that are in it, and just for 2 seconds, like this super famous people for 2 seconds in the movie. But I thought everybody did a great job. So that was my thoughts on as the Red Letter Media says, Oppenheimer.
All right. And then an even more important movie came out this week. Barbie, the long-awaited solo film / origin story / women's lib feminism movie. Anti-men. No, I'm just kidding. Movie about a children's toy. Which I believe won the box office this week by a considerable margin.
Better than Transformers?
Well, it is more than meets the eye, Jeff. I mean, come on, there's more than meets the eye to Barbie. Now, we all saw this. I ended up seeing it not yesterday, the day before. Took my wife and I took my 4-year-old to see it too. It was sort of an experiment to see if he could sit through a movie that wasn't Paw Patrol or Trolls or something, or Super Mario Brothers. But he did a really great job. He sat through the movie perfectly, munched on his popcorn. It was all the jokes went way over his head. I don't think I heard him laugh once. But he was definitely into we're gonna spoil this movie, everybody, again, just in case. He was definitely into the Kens. And the Ken climax was his favorite part of the movie. But this movie I enjoyed. I really didn't have much of an idea of what it was about, mainly because I saw the very first trailer, or maybe it was just a clip and it wasn't a trailer. You'll have to correct me on this, you guys, if I'm wrong. But was the first trailer the opening shot where it is the little girls playing with the dolls, smashing them like the apes in 2001: A Space Odyssey?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I saw that. However long ago that was. I don't remember if that was the very, very first trailer, but that was enough to sell me on the concept. And I said, okay. And I saw the behind the scenes picture of Gosling and Margot Robbie rollerblading in their bright outfits. And I was like, oh, this is going to be funny. This is going to be good. So I sort of purposefully steered away from it. And boy, was I pleasantly surprised. I enjoyed this movie very much. Probably not as much as the women around me crying, but and nothing wrong if you cried in this movie and you're a man. That wasn't a dig or a point at anybody, Mark. It just it didn't get me. And again, that's not a dig. I joke, I kid.
Man.
But I thought it was very funny. And you know what I was really surprised by was Ryan Gosling is very funny. And I couldn't I was talking to my wife after the movie and I said, has he been in any other comedies? Because I haven't seen him. If he has been, can you guys think if he's been in any other comedies?
Yeah,
I feel like he's been in. I mean, obviously, I really liked him in Drive. But I feel like he's done something else that was like surprisingly really good to me. That made me like.
But like along this line, like a straight up comedy movie.
I can't think of one off the top of my head. I don't think so.
Yeah, not a straight comedy, but he was in not the is it the other guys? It's something with guys.
The Nice Guys.
Yes, that was his comedy.
Mhm.
Like that's the most comedy he's done. Besides being on the Mickey Mouse Club when he was a
Oh,
kid.
yes. And Young Hercules. Yeah, that's right. You wouldn't know about that show, Jeff. You would know about Young Hercules.
Nope. That's boomer material.
Wow.
Hey, he's done SNL. He's done SNL. Take that.
All right, moving on. So what did you think of this movie, Vector?
The Barbie film I enjoyed, and like you said, it was different than what you would think when you very first hear that. I thought it was interesting.
Can you
when I was
spoil it a little bit for? I'm not gonna watch it until it hits.
Oh, I thought you saw it already.
No,
That's
I
my
did not
bad.
see it. So just spoil some of it. I think the idea is they're looking for the CEO of Mattel. Or
No, Jeff.
something? I don't know. I don't know what
You
it
didn't
is.
even see. Have you seen the Brady Bunch movie, Jeff? It's the same plot as the Brady Bunch movie.
Oh,
Barbie goes into the.
Ooh.
There she is. We better go back.
That sounds
That's
like a
the movie,
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Basically.
in a nutshell.
No,
The plot is that
a
a Barbie, Margot Robbie, is living
her perfect Barbie life. She's throwing Barbie parties. A great.
her feet are flat.
She
Can't stand in high heels no more.
thinks about death. She's
She's having
having
existential dread,
and
she doesn't know why.
and
And it's up to her to venture into the real world to find the person that plays with her and why they're playing with her.
in such a manner, and then bring them back to Barbie Land
Mhm.
to solve all the problems. Meanwhile, Ken is out learning about the patriarchy and brings it back to Barbie Land. And
Yeah.
my 4-year-old son's favorite part of the whole movie. All right, continue, Vector.
Yeah, so I thought it was interesting. Like I said, it defied the expectations of what you thought it was going to be. But then also, this movie has like a 15-year history where they were trying to get it made. Amy Schumer was originally attached. She was going to be Barbie, and it was going to be, I think, a different type of comedy at that point. But it got shopped around and moved around and pushed around. And the final product, I think, is there's some interesting things about what does it mean to be a female in today's world, but also about the Barbie doll, where it was supposed to be this feminist, you know, um, icon where she had all these different jobs. All right, she's an astronaut, she's a doctor, she's a lawyer, all these things. And it's supposed to be inspiring. But then at the same time, it's this capitalist, you know, tool where, all right, Barbie has a different outfit. So you got to buy that outfit. Barbie's got a different car. So you got to buy that car. And, it ends up being that for little girls and females. And then also, the problems that exist were not solved by Barbie. And I like that she confronts that where in her world, she's thinking that everything was because Barbie exists, there's no problems in the world. And then she goes to the real world and sees, oh, yeah, I guess there are still problems, even though Barbie exists. But I just thought that was interesting juxtaposition of what was Barbie created for, and then what does Barbie become? But it doesn't have, I think, the JeffW fangs. It doesn't sink its teeth as much as you would want it to, because it's still kind of friendly to Mattel. There's still ties to Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers has a contract with Mattel. I didn't do too much digging into that, but they can't go too far talking about Mattel and talking about, hey, this may not be the best thing. So there's a little bit of Jeff W. Venom, but not the full bite. Like I said, not the full fangs.
Yeah. It was still self-deprecating and referential enough that I was very surprised that they would make fun of Mattel in such a fashion. Um, Especially Will Ferrell's character, who is basically the same character that he played in a Lego movie.
How much is
Uh,
he in the movie? Would you
I'd say
say?
probably like a third of it.
Okay, so a good chunk. Okay.
Yeah, and he's very funny, but he runs Mattel's and he runs Barbie, so to
Mhm.
speak, and
Got you.
is very pro Barbie, pro feminist movement in it, but in a very silly, like childish, naive
Mhm.
manner
Well, I
is the
would
best
even
way I can
add
describe it.
that he's Buddy the elf as the Lego
Yeah,
movie.
there you go.
Like, because that's the way
That's
he's
a
acting.
yeah.
Okay.
He's a very like an adult person who probably shouldn't have ever become an adult, or why are you in a position of power running this whole company sort of character. And he says that Mattel's had 2 female CEOs. I don't know their names, but we've had 2 but the movie has a very straightforward feminist message, Jeff, that is not watered down, that is not played for laughs, um, and it's very poignant and very, I guess, moving is the closest thing I could say about it. The movie doesn't slow down necessarily, but it does take sort of a sidestep to get this point across, maybe like 2/3 of the way through of the
Mhm.
movie, and then it shifts back into full comedy mode.
Who gets
Um,
killed? Who gets killed 2/3 of the way in?
I'm not sure if anybody actually dies in this movie. I don't recall. Maybe
Bullshit.
just the patriarchy, Jeff. I think is the
Okay.
only thing that dies. There's a whole subplot in this movie, Jeff, of when Barbie and Ken get to the real world to find their owner. Barbie immediately, drifts towards the little girl who she believes is her owner, but it's really her mom. But Ken is left
Mhm.
to his own devices, and he goes into a library and starts learning about the patriarchy, learning about riding horses and how men rule the world. And he immediately tries to get a job as like a surgeon and a lifeguard. Turns out you need qualifications, Jeff. You can't just be a man. But that was his arguing point the whole time. Like, I'm a man and I'm here, so why can't I do this? Um, and he steals books from a library about the patriarchy. And eventually, when they go back to Barbie Land, Ken immediately finds all the other Kens and says, "You are not going to believe what I just learned about." And the Kens take over Barbie Land, and it becomes Ken Land. And then the plot shifts to how are we going to get the Kens to forget that they're in charge and get
Mhm.
Barbie Land. And that's where the movie really was making me laugh, was in that moment. Like they were doing every stereotypical thing that you could possibly hate. Like if you were in that situation, like imagine dating a girl and you're showing her Avengers Infinity War, just hypothetically, and you think she's into it, but she's looking at her cell phone the whole time, getting real mad. There's a whole scene where they're singing Push. All the Kens are singing Push, and all the Barbies simultaneously start looking at their phones to like break their spirits. And it's so
That
funny, man.
I think that would have been Jeff's favorite moment of the movie. That's the type of musical cue that Jeff enjoys.
Okay.
My
Yeah.
favorite moment of the movie, or moments I should say, were anytime Weird Barbie was on the screen or Alan, and it was both of those actors, Michael Cera, almost playing Scott Pilgrim, and then who's the SNL?
Kate McKinnon.
Yes, Kate McKinnon. Both of them, their characters made me laugh every time they came on the screen. So
Mhm.
those, I wish their roles were a little bit bigger, especially Alan, because I feel like he had a storyline that got cut or something. Like it got cut short. They should have filled out his storyline a little bit more.
They said, Jeff, that Alan is Ken's friend, but he's just Alan. He has like no personality whatsoever. and he's the only Alan in Barbie Land. But he said Allens did escape in the past into the real world, and they formed in sync. And that was a very funny joke to me. I thought that was hilarious.
Were there any like surprise cameos or
John Cena shows up
Oh yeah.
as a
okay.
mermaid,
Okay.
a mermaid Barbie, whose wig was better than the actual female mermaids, I thought.
Oh wow. Okay.
I was reading the story. No, I wasn't reading it. It was an interview. I was with Margot Robbie, and she said that, at least I think it was Margot Robbie. She said that she believes he brought his wigs from home. And I was like, that wouldn't surprise me if John Cena. Yeah, there you go. He's pulling up the pictures right now.
That's hilarious.
It looks like the same wig he wears, like when he's on Jimmy Fallon doing the teenage
Mhm.
girls, like
Yeah.
"Ew,"
Yeah.
like ew, that sketch that he does. Like I would not be surprised if that's his personal wig.
Yeah.
He seems like the kind of guy who would be very confident in his masculinity to own that. But the movie is great. I mean, it's not particularly vulgar. It's very clever. It was well written. I thought everybody did great performance. Ryan Gosling, like I said, blew me out of the water. I didn't know he could be so funny. Margot Robbie's great as always. And the whole sequence of the Kens taking over Barbie Town, my son said was his favorite part. And I want to point out that he said this unprovoked. on the way out of the theater in the lobby. My favorite part was Ken World. I was like, and I laughed so hard in the lobby. It really caught me off guard, and I thought it was the funniest thing. And like I said, I might have caused a scene. I laughed so hard.
My favorite part of the Titanic was when they all died in the crash.
Like the whole point of the movie just went right over his head, and I was
He's
like,
just,
you know what,
he's
buddy,
like,
good
"Boys
for you."
rule."
Yeah, because it's like boys rule. Like that's the whole theme of that sequence is boys rule. They're drinking, they're watching horses on TV, they're like high-fiving each other and having a good time. Like he enjoyed it. So I would recommend Barbie. Like I think it's a pretty clever movie. It's different. And I'm sure there'll be a sequel.
Yeah.
So go
Yeah,
see
they
it.
made a ton of money at the box office. I think it might end up being, top 3 of the year.
After Super Mario
yeah.
Brothers and after
This is
Spider-Verse.
That's why Warner dropped it on Christopher Nolan's head. Told him, "Fuck you. We're gonna release our movie because you left."
Yeah, but I don't think
Mhm.
they even expected this. Like, if you think, like Jeff, if you think about how much have you heard about the Barbie movie, I don't think they were expecting the cultural impact that it's had and
Oh,
the
yeah.
box office. I think they're like, oh yeah, we wanted, we're gonna have a hit, but I don't think they thought it was gonna be this big.
Yeah. I think they knew they were gonna draw, but I didn't think they were gonna. I don't think they thought they're gonna double the Oppenheimer, box office, pretty much, if not more than that. Now, I think.
Yeah. And the amount of memes that have come out around Barbie, and I saw one the other day. It was like Barbie is the Wakanda forever for white women, and it showed a picture of all the white women dressing up and going to the theater.
Yeah.
So and also the
And
amount of
that
people that were
happened.
the amount of people that were dressed up at our theater that were wearing pink, and even the men, there was a ton of people dressed up. So I think this last weekend was a huge win for the movie industry and for the box office. And what's crazy is, like, after they just had this huge win, then it's like, all right, and now we don't know what's going to happen for the rest of the year because of the strike. Aquaman 2, they're talking about moving everything from this year to next year. Aquaman 2, Dune 2, what was the other one? There was one big one that they were talking about moving, but it's kind of like you want everybody to go back to the movies because after COVID and after everybody was staying away, these 2 movies were bringing everybody back, and now it's like, oh yeah, well, now we're not going to have any more movies to play.
Well, at least we have Ninja Turtles to look forward to.
And video
boys.
games.
And video games. Yeah, we are. I forgot we were a video game podcast for a second. Oh my gosh. We do play video games usually, folks.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's Sandbox Gamers. Thanks for joining us. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. If you're one of the 2 people watching us on YouTube Live right now, thanks. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Maybe we'll do more lives and maybe we won't. Who knows? But either way, you want to be subscribed just in case. Give us 5-star review on your podcatcher of choice, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever. We greatly appreciate it. You can find all of our social media links in the show notes under our link tree. It's linktree/the Sandbox Gamers. And did you know our very own Vactor, he's not just a Oppenheimer enthusiast. No, he's a comic book enthusiast, and he has his own YouTube channel called The Vactorverse. Tell him about it.
That is correct. On all the social media platforms, including Threads, you'll find me posting different things that I'm finding throughout the week, specifically comic book and Star Wars related. And every week on youtube.com/Vactor, I'm trying to have some type of interesting comic book or Star Wars content for you. This next week, well, actually, I should say this week, I'm having an interview with my boy Benty, of Twitch. And next week, we're going to have a new Justice League War World review. So we're going to have that coming at you next week. But stay tuned, youtube.com/Vactor.
Woohoo! My favorite YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe, follow us, do all the things. Thanks for joining us. And last but not least, GG, everybody. GG.